The story of how Clerks was made is as famous as the movie itself. Over the course of an agonizing 3-week shoot, writer, director, co-producer, co-editor, and supporting actor Kevin Smith worked at the Quick Stop convenience store all day, shot scenes for Clerks all night, and squeezed in an hour or two of sleep in between if he was lucky. Smith maxed out a bunch of credit cards and sold his painstakingly cultivated comic book collection to cover the budget. But ultimately it was worth it because the movie was a big enough hit to launch a decades-long career. The success of Clerks allowed Smith to buy back the comics he had to sell to make it, with plenty of pocket change left over. Kevin Smith isn't everyone's cup of tea. People seem to either really love his movies or really hate them. But love him or hate him, it's impossible to deny that, like any great auteur, Smith has a unique perspective and an idiosyncratic voice. There's an old adage that directors make one movie, then keep making that same movie over and over again in different shapes and sizes and styles. That undoubtedly applies to Smith's filmography. Mallrats is Clerks in a mall, Cop Out is Clerks with cops, Dogma is Clerks with God, Zack and Miri Make a Porno is Clerks with a skin flick, Chasing Amy is Clerks with comic book artists and LGBTQ+ themes, Yoga Hosers is Clerks with Nazi sausages, aka Bratsies. The first, and from a certain point of view, only movie of Smith's career, Clerks, established all the now familiar hallmarks of his filmmaking. Smith's straightforward direction has no unnecessary visual flair. He just points a camera at actors talking and lets his sharp dialogue speak for itself. Like just about everyone else who populates Smith's interconnected viewersk universe, the characters of Clerks wax poetic about Star Wars and philosophy with ample amounts of profanity. So much so that the MPAA originally wanted to give this mostly sex and violence-free movie an un-theater-friendly NC-17 rating based on its vulgar language alone.
My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks!
In a row?
Black and white 16mm film was all Smith could afford on his shoestring budget, but the grainy black and white aesthetic works wonders from a stylistic standpoint. Bare bones visuals pair perfectly with the bare bones narrative. The script's day-in-a-life structure, starting with Dante Hicks being called into work at the Quick Stop on his day off, and ending with him closing the shop for the night, captures the beautiful mundanity of everyday life. It's a series of loosely connected vignettes ranging from a hockey game on the roof to an ill-fated sexual encounter with a corpse. The more specific and personal a story is, the more universally relatable it will be. Smith made a movie about a 9-to-5 shift at the humdrum convenience store that employed him. Everything in Clerks feels totally authentic, from the dullness of customer service work to the geographical placement of New Jersey to the culture of geekdom, including a thought-provoking discussion about whether or not innocent contractors were killed when the rebels destroyed the Empire's second Death Star in the midst of its construction. Everyone can relate to Dante. He's young, aimless, and stuck in a dead-end job. We all had those crappy, thankless early jobs full of mindless labor, where we felt like our talents were being underutilized. We all remember inconsiderate bosses who wouldn't think twice about calling us in on our days off. We've all had to deal with rude customers who consider us to be beneath them. Dante thinks the universe is against him, but he can't see that he's surrounded by people who want the best for him. His upbeat, carefree best friend Randall, who works at the adjoining RST video store, wants to change his defeatist, pessimistic outlook. His loving, supportive girlfriend Veronica encourages him to go back to school and figure out what he wants to do with his life. When it hit the indie scene in the mid-90s, Clerks was praised for encapsulating the nihilistic attitude of Generation X. But nihilism isn't exclusive to Generation X. With every passing year, the world gets a little bit darker, more terrifying, and trickier to inhabit. As a result, every generation gets a little bit more cynical and pissed off. By that metric, Clerks isn't just a snapshot of the 90s, it's a timeless snapshot of youth that still holds up today. Except there are fewer smokers these days, and movie rentals are mostly done online. Smith's sumptuous dialogue captures the music of conversation, walking a fine line between snappy, stylized comic banter and rambling, realistic human interactions. He gives himself one of the most profound lines in the movie. The conceit of his Silent Bob character is that he doesn't open his mouth until he has something truly meaningful to say. At the end of Clerks, when Dante is stuck in a love triangle between Caitlin, the ex who constantly cheated on him, and Veronica, the current partner he needs to learn to appreciate, Bob delivers his first of many valuable life lessons.
You know, there's a million fine-looking women in the world, dude, but they don't all bring you lasagna at work. Most of them just cheat on you.
Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson are perfectly matched in the roles of Dante and Randall. O'Halloran plays Dante as the exasperated everyman. He's the voice of reason standing in for the audience. When he's regaled with the pre-Urban Dictionary definition of snowballing,
after he gets a blowjob, he likes to have it spit back into his mouth while kissing. It's called snowballing.
he asks.
You request this?
When Dante is told he's repressed, he snaps back.
You're so repressed.
Because I never tried to suck my own dick?
No, because you won't admit to it.
Anderson provides a hysterical counterpoint, playing Randall as a deadpan super slacker. When a customer tries to catch him out for ignoring her, he says,
I don't think your manager would appreciate
I
it.
don't appreciate your ruse, ma'am.
I beg your pardon?
Your ruse, your cunning attempt to trick me.
I was only pointing out that you weren't paying any attention to what I was saying.
I hope it feels good.
You hope what feels good?
I hope it feels so good to be right. There's nothing more exhilarating than pointing out the shortcomings of others, is there?
He casually lists off X-rated titles like Ass-Worshipping Rim Jobbers, All Tit Fucking Volume 8, and Huge Black Cocks with Pearly White Cum in front of a mother and her young child.
Met Alone 2, the KY connection. Pink Pussy Lips. Oh yeah, and All Holes Filled with Hard Cock. Yep. Oh, wait a minute, what was that called again?
Dante and Randall's friendship is the heart of the movie. They don't always get along, in fact they frequently don't, but they're always there for each other. There's no question that these two are lifelong ride-or-die besties, even when they're at each other's throats rolling around the aisles of the Quick Stop. Dante and Randall share the same interests, movies, hockey, shooting the shit, but they have diametrically opposed worldviews. Randall expects everything to work out, Dante expects everything to fall apart, and they're both usually right. Everyone remembers Dante's recurring one-liner.
I'm not even supposed to be here today. I'm not even supposed to be here today. I'm not even supposed to be here today.
But what's really poignant is Randall's rebuttal. When Dante repeats that line one too many times, Randall finally snaps.
I'm not even supposed to be here today. You sound like an asshole! Jesus, nobody twisted your arm to be here. You're here of your own volition. You like to think the weight of the world rests on your shoulder, like this place would fall apart if Dante wasn't here. Jesus, you overcompensate for having what's basically a monkey's job. Christ, you work in a convenience store, Dante, and badly, I might add.
Randall is the only person who pays close enough attention to Dante's whining to call him out. Dante is so quick to blame everybody else for his problems that he won't accept any responsibility for himself. Originally, the I'm not even supposed to be here today running joke was paid off with bleak irony. The first cut of the film ended with a gunman coming into the store and shooting Dante dead. Smith came up with this dark initial ending because he didn't know how to end the movie. It wasn't until the movie was finished that Smith realized he'd already written the perfect ending and the perfect resolution of the story's themes with Randall's tough love. Sure, it would have been subversive to kill off Dante, but it would have been a disservice to the character, and the audience who'd spent an hour and a half empathizing with that character. Clerks needed to end on a far more optimistic note, with Randall delivering timely wisdom at a crucial juncture in Dante's life. It's easy to blame shitty circumstances for a shitty existence, but ultimately we have no one to blame but ourselves for the way our lives have turned out. We're all responsible for our own happiness.
If you want to blame somebody, blame yourself.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the little bell. And also seize the day and call your mom and be kind to yourself.